A very good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha Television, the perfect show to kickstart your day, bringing you the top national, international sports and business news. My name is Aishwarya and here are the headlines. High-pitched campaigning for second phase of Gujarat poll continues. Prime Minister and Rahul Gandhi in heated war of words at rallies. Election Commission declares a final voter turnout in the first phase at 66.75%. Russia, India, China foreign ministers meet in Delhi today. Terrorism expected to figure prominently during talks. Cooperation in Asia-Pacific region to also be discussed. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu says India committed to preserving and protecting human rights, urges United Nations to conclude process of defining terror and take a firm action against it. Left Alliance set to form a government in Nepal. Parties led by former Prime Minister K.P. Oli and Prachanda win more than 100 seats. Ruling Nepali Congress bags 17 seats. And India win a bronze medal at the Hockey World League after beating Germany. In cricket, lose to Sri Lanka by 7 wickets in the first ODI at Dharamshala. First up, news on Gujarat Assembly elections. Well, campaigning for the second phase of election in Gujarat has gained momentum. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on a Sunday addressed several rallies in the state. In his speeches, the Prime Minister continued with his blistering attack on the Congress party. The Prime Minister also addressed public meetings in Palanpur, Sanand and Vadodara. Here are the details.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Sunday alleged there was an attempt by Pakistan to interfere in Gujarat polls. He sought an explanation from the Congress over an alleged secret meeting of its leaders with current and former Pakistani officials. The PM raised these questions at a rally in Palanpur in Banaskantha district.
पूर्व आर्मी डायरेक्टर जनरल अरशद रफीक एएमके के गुजरात में अहमद पटेल ने मुख्यमंत्री बनावा माटे टेको करवो जोईए। पाकिस्तान ना वड़ा आर्मी ना रिटायर्ड
The Prime Minister highlighted the work done in Banaskantha, especially in the agriculture sector.
भाइयों बहनों, हमें मारा बनासकांठानी बातों थसे आटलो विकास थवानो छे.
Continuing his attack on the Congress at a rally in Vadodara, the Prime Minister said that the Congress should stop spreading misinformation about development issues.
बस स्टेशन पर कौन जाए बिको? गरीब माँ गरीब मानस बस स्टेशन पर जाए कि ना जाए? जरा बोलो तो करा। गरीब माँ गरीब मानस बस स्टेशन पर जाए ना? वडोदरा माँ आलीशान बस स्टेशन बनाव्यो, एयरपोर्ट करता पर फर्स्ट क्लास। ये अमीरों माटे बन्यु के गरीबों माटे? ये अमीरों माटे बन्यु के गरीबों माटे? आज सरकार अमीरों माटे के गरीबों माटे?
At another rally in Kalol, the Prime Minister said that the BJP government has taken Gujarat to new heights of progress.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी शांति, एकता, अने सद्भावना ये मंत्र साथे गुजरातनी विकास यात्रा ने आगर धपावती रही छे.
Several union ministers and BJP leaders also addressed rallies in the poll-bound state. BJP is campaigning for the second phase of Gujarat Assembly polls to be held on December 14th. The first phase was held on December 9th for 89 assembly constituencies. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
The Congress has meanwhile reacted to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's allegation of the top party leaders meeting with Pakistani ministers. Now, the party has termed the Prime Minister's remark as baseless. Responding to the remark, Congress spokesperson Randeep Surjewala said that the Prime Minister made the charge as he was worried about the BJP's impending defeat in Gujarat Assembly elections. He said that the Prime Minister should avoid making such allegations.
आदरणीय मोदी जी घबरा गए हैं, तिलमिलाए हैं, झुंझलाए हैं और आए दिन घबराकर, बौखलाकर, झुंझलाकर अनर्गल और एक इस प्रकार की बात जिसका ना कोई सिर है ना पैर है.
More news from the Congress's camp, and the party Vice President Rahul Gandhi addressed 4 rallies in Gujarat on Sunday. He alleged that the Prime Minister frequently changed the election plank and now he's speaking about himself and the Congress party. He alleged that the Prime Minister is not talking about the BJP's future plans for the state. He also accused the BJP of only benefiting industrialists.
मैंने मोदी जी का भाषण सुना, उसमें 90% समय मोदी जी ने मोदी जी की बात की. मतलब पहले लेफ्ट टर्न, राइट टर्न, अब ब्रेक लग गई. पूरे हिंदुस्तान में आप घूम लो, आपको 1 रुपए प्रति मीटर जमीन नहीं मिलेगी. मगर अदानी जी को गुजरात में 45,000 हेक्टेयर जमीन 1 रुपया प्रति मीटर के लिए दी जा सकती है.
So campaigning for the second phase of assembly elections in Gujarat is at its peak with only 3 days remaining for the polls. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will hold 3 public meetings in the poll-bound state today. The Prime Minister will address his first rally in Patan, followed by rallies in Nadiad and Ahmedabad. BJP President Amit Shah also will address 4 rallies in the state. He will address rallies in Banaskantha and Anand districts. Shah will also hold a public meet in Vadodara district. Besides him, Chief Minister Vijay Rupani, UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, former Chief Minister Anandiben Patel will also canvass for votes for the party. Meanwhile, Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi will try to woo voters in his party's favour in his rallies in Banaskantha and Ahmedabad districts. Rahul Gandhi is also slated to hold a public meet in Vadodara district today and at Ramkatha Maidan in Gandhinagar. Now, Vadodara, Gujarat's 3rd largest city, is considered the state's cultural capital. Prime Minister Narendra Modi resigned from the Lok Sabha seat of Vadodara and he retained the Varanasi parliamentary constituency. Now, the BJP considers Vadodara as its unassailable fortress, but the Congress is trying hard to make inroads in the BJP's citadel.
We are at the Sanskari Nagari of Gujarat, Vadodara. When Prime Minister Narendra Modi relinquished this Lok Sabha seat for Varanasi, he promised the people of Vadodara that he will not leave any stone unturned for the growth and development of Vadodara. As this district becomes the cynosure of all eyes in this election season, let's explore whether people will again repose their faith in the BJP and how will the battle of ballots play out in this BJP bastion.
BJP says Vadodara is Prime Minister's Karam Bhumi and Prime Minister Modi has an emotional connect with the city. BJP posters with Prime Minister Modi's picture with the message Vikas Mate Vote Do dominate the city. For the BJP, it is a prestige battle for repeating its clean sweep of all 10 seats in the district in the 2012 assembly elections. It enumerates several developmental projects undertaken in the district.
ना कार्यकर्ता है, ना नेता है, ना विकास का काम है. भारतीय जनता पार्टी के पास सब कुछ है. मजबूत नेतृत्व मोदी जी जैसा है. असंख्य कार्यकर्ताओं की फौज है भारतीय जनता पार्टी के पास और लोगों का विश्वास है. इसीलिए लोगों को भारतीय जनता पार्टी में कमल में भी विश्वास है.
The Congress party is trying hard to wrest the assembly seats in Vadodara from the BJP. The party claims that absence of Narendra Modi as chief minister in the state and giving up the Vadodara parliamentary constituency for Varanasi will make a big difference now.
स्ट्रॉन्ग उम्मीदवार दिए गए हैं कांग्रेस ने जितना एक्सपेक्टेड था उससे अच्छे उम्मीदवार दिए हुए और एंटी इनकम्बेंसी पिछले 22 साल की लगी हुई है। लोग बहुत नाराज हैं, इसलिए कांग्रेस के उम्मीदवार जीतने वाले हैं।
Congress's central leadership is campaigning extensively in Vadodara, and experts agree that the Congress has registered a strong presence this time, but is still not a threat to the BJP.
ये बड़ौदा डिस्ट्रिक्ट की जब बात आती है, जो वहाँ 5 सीट है, वो सीट जो ऐसी है कि वहाँ 2000 से 6000, 5000, 6000 के मार्जिन में जीती थी। वो सीट पर शायद दिक्कत आ सकती है, 1-2 सीट पर। बाकी बड़ौदा शहर भारतीय जनता पार्टी के लिए बहुत सरल रहेगा।
Meanwhile, residents flag issues that need to be addressed by the next government.
ऑटो रिक्शा वाले ने इतनी ज़्यादा ट्रैफिक समस्या किया हुआ है कि जहाँ पे भी आप खड़े रहो आप गाड़ी नहीं खरीद सकते हो, कहीं पे भी कुछ भी आप नहीं कर सकते हो, और प्राइवेट व्हीकल इतने सारे यहाँ पे चल रहे हैं क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट के कोई व्हीकल यहाँ पे है नहीं, ट्रांसपोर्ट सुविधा कोई है नहीं है।
As BJP's Prime Ministerial candidate Narendra Modi won the Vadodara Lok Sabha seat in 2014 by a margin of 5,70,128 votes. He secured 8,45,464 votes out of the total 11.63 lakh votes polled in Vadodara. This was the highest ever margin by which any leader won the Vadodara seat. By-polls were held in Vadodara Lok Sabha constituency as Modi vacated this seat after choosing to retain Varanasi in Uttar Pradesh. The BJP retained the prestigious Vadodara Lok Sabha seat in Gujarat, vacated by Prime Minister, with a huge margin of more than 3.29 lakh votes. This is Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
All right, let's get you some more news. Irrespective of their strong differences on a host of issues, India will be engaging with China for convergence on issues of mutual and regional importance today. Russia will also join the meeting of the two in the format of Russia, India, China, or the RIC Foreign Ministers meet in Delhi. While the issue of terrorism is expected to figure prominently, the three ministers will also discuss issues of cooperation in the Asia-Pacific region. The ministers will meet one another in both the bilateral and trilateral formats.
The Foreign Minister of Russia, Sergei Lavrov, and Foreign Minister of China, Wang Yi, will take part in the meeting along with External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj in New Delhi today. The foreign ministers of the three countries would discuss issues of mutual, regional, and global importance. During the meet, India is expected to raise the issue of China repeatedly blocking New Delhi's move to put a ban on Jaish-e-Mohammed chief Masood Azhar under the Al-Qaeda Sanction Committee of the United Nations Security Council. India is also expected to raise concerns over Chinese-led One Belt, One Road initiative or OBOR.
For the RIC as well as the bilateral, there could be some areas of convergence. The RIC will discuss the global regional issues, the bilateral cooperation, the trilateral cooperation, the issues which we have been discussing in the previous RIC meeting, that could also come up for discussion. We expect all bilateral issues. We also expect that regional and certain global issues will come up for discussion.
The 15th edition of the Russia-India-China Trilateral Foreign Ministerial Meet will also focus on the need for stability, especially in the Asia-Pacific region, along with other global and regional challenges. India wants China to make its strategy for the Asia-Pacific inclusive and responsible, rather than an exclusive approach that Beijing seems to have adopted. Officials from Russia, India and China had met in Beijing last December, and the three foreign ministers could likely agree on further official level meetings in this format that would strengthen coordination and understanding.
Russia and China are the permanent members of United Nations Security Council, and India is the closest aspirant for it. Naturally, the talks will take place on bigger issues of strategic importance, and India is taking it very positively despite some differences. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha Television with camera person Saroj in Delhi.
And in Breakfast News, time for a very short break. We'll be back with more news. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome. I'm Amritan Shirai and you're watching Law of the Land on Rajya Sabha TV. privacy has to be reasonably explained. On the basis of that constitution, you may have to amend.
The death penalty is sustained on the basis of the concept regarding life given in ADM Jabalpur only.
The impact of the judgment will be huge.
There is a specific right in the Constitution against self-incrimination.
See, under the Constitution, no right is absolute.
Watch Law of the Land on Rajya Sabha Television.
Welcome back after the break. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has said that commitment to human rights is in India's DNA. Addressing an event organized by the NHRC on Human Rights Day on Sunday, the Vice President said that those picking up arms must shun violence and enter the democratic process. The Vice President also urged the United Nations to define terrorism and act decisively against it.
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu addressed a function in Delhi organized by the National Human Rights Commission on the occasion of Human Rights Day on Sunday. Emphasizing the importance of human rights, he said that while secularism and human rights are ingrained in the DNA of Indians, the intention of terrorists is to defeat the ethos of tolerance. Without naming Pakistan, he said some states have made violence and terror a part of state policy.
At the international level, the United Nations Security Council should act against terror. Otherwise, it's difficult to have peaceful coexistence, and also without peace, there cannot be progress.
The Vice President also said that Maoists should shun violence and must seek change not through bullets but ballots. He said personal rights cannot come in the way of national integrity, as peace was important for development.
Capture the power and then change the system. You have no right to kill others. Because some people in some sections, smaller sections, they believe that power comes through barrel of the gun. World over, power has not come through barrel of gun. Even if it has come, it was temporary. And change, power comes from ballot, not from the bullet. This has to be understood by all.
The Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu also presented 3 awards to those who made short films to raise awareness about human rights. Akhilesh Suman's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has also said that making agriculture more viable was the challenge before the nation. He also said politicizing suicides of farmers would not help address the issue. The Vice President said this at an event to confer the Yeraningan Award to Professor M.N. Swaminathan in Chennai on Sunday. He said that Professor Swaminathan is a transformative leader who has inspired many scientists to focus on the problem of Indian agriculture. Underlining that agriculture is the basic culture of India, he said that it is our responsibility to give more coverage in media regarding the agricultural issues.
Today, we are not only having food security, we are also able to export. And thanks to the vision of Dr. Swaminathan and also the other great scientists who are doing their great job, that in the future also we'll be able to really export food grains and also cereals and also other things to the entire world. That is the way forward on which the scientists, the agriculture universities, the institutes, the ICAR, they must all focus how to enhance production.
Time for another short break. Up next, we have all the international and sports news.
What has gone wrong with the Indian health sector? Private health sector, if I could call it.
They continued with their treatment, they prolonged their treatment just to make money.
As a doctor, I can write a diagnosis, I can decide the treatment, but what is the final billing done is something which even I am not aware of.
My brother walked into this hospital late in the evening. He had 6 symptoms of an impending cardiac arrest. All 6 symptoms were ignored.
अच्छा डॉक्टर वो है जो इलाज ना करे लेकिन पेशेंट को सैटिस्फाई भी करे.
the primary healthcare system actually can take care of 80% of problems.
Also now investigate the parallel business interests of these hospitals.
I will raise the issue in the parliament.
Okay.
I will share this discussion with the Honorable Health Minister and possibly with the higher authority.
Why is the private healthcare in India profit-driven? Watch an interactive one-hour special only on Rajya Sabha television.
The story we thought we knew. The story of magnificence. The story of bloody battles. Of those who ruled and those who left their footprints. The story charting the course of our past. Talking history on Rajya Sabha TV.
Welcome back after the break. News from neighbouring Nepal, and an alliance of the Nepal's former Maoist rebels and the main Communist Party has won the majority of seats in parliamentary elections and are expected to form the next government. According to preliminary results from the country's election commission late on Sunday, the alliance between a communist CPN-UML and the Maoist party looks set for a landslide victory, winning over 100 seats out of 165 in the national parliament. Early tallies show that the communist alliance is also likely to dominate in most of the 7 newly elected provincial assemblies. The alliance between rivals KP Sharma Oli's Communist Party of Nepal, Unified Marxist-Leninists, and also Pushpa Kamal Dahal Prachanda's Communist Party of Nepal Maoists had come as a complete shock ahead of the polls. The landmark polls marked the end of the Himalayan nation's transition to the federal democracy, 11 years after the end of a brutal civil war in the country. The incumbent Nepali Congress, led by Sher Bahadur Deuba, that had cobbled a democratic alliance with the support of Madheshi parties, has so far just 16 seats. The elections are the first held under the country's new federal constitution, which was finally adopted in 2015, 9 years after the end of the conflict, and it mandates a sweeping overhaul of the political system, devolving power from the centre to the 7 provinces. And protests continue in the Muslim and the Arab world at the US's decision recognizing Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Violence flared near the US embassy in Lebanon and elsewhere on Sunday. In Lebanon capital Beirut, Lebanese security forces clashed with protesters near the US embassy on Sunday. Thousands of people also rallied in the Turkish city of Istanbul against the US's move to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital. The Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has also stepped up his rhetoric against Israel, describing it as a terrorist state in a speech in the city of Sivas. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu responded to Erdogan, saying that he was not used to receiving lectures about morality from a leader who bombs Kurdish villagers in his native Turkey. But speaking from Paris, where he met with French President Emmanuel Macron, Netanyahu said that Palestinians must get to grip with the reality that Jerusalem is Israel's capital in order to move towards peace. Netanyahu will today meet with EU foreign ministers when they will try and present a united front after US President Donald Trump's decision to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel.
Where else is the capital of Israel but in Jerusalem? Where is our Knesset, our parliament? Where is our Supreme Court? The seat of our government, the Prime Minister's office, the President's office. It's not in Beersheba, it's not in Ashdod. These are wonderful cities, but it's in Jerusalem. It's always been our capital. And Jerusalem has never been the capital of any other people. I think the sooner the Palestinians come to grips with this reality, the sooner we'll move towards peace.
And let's get you all the sporting action. India reclaimed the bronze medal at the Hockey World League final tournament held in Bhubaneswar. India beat Germany 2-1 for the third place. India had also won the bronze in the last edition of the tournament in Raipur in 2015. Australia retained their Hockey World League final title with a 2-1 victory over Olympic champions Argentina in the final.
They take the action to pack. The atmosphere has been magnificent, and the Hockey World League trophy. Finish this off, Govers. It's in!
And in cricket news, Sri Lanka defeated India by 7 wickets in the series opener after the hosts were bundled out for just 112. With this win, Sri Lanka have ended their losing streak of 12 matches and have taken a 1-0 lead in the 3-match ODI series. Now, opener Upul Tharanga was the top scorer with 49 runs. However, Hardik Pandya removed Tharanga for a 1-run shot in a half-century. But then Niroshan Dikwela contributed 26 runs to take Sri Lanka towards the win. Earlier put into bat, MS Dhoni was the only batsman to stand out with a fighting 65 and push India above a ton. Other than Kuldeep Yadav's score of 19 and Hardik Pandya's 10, no other batsman could manage to reach double figures. Sri Lanka's captain Thisara Perera and spinners Akila Dhananjaya and Sachit Pathirana took 1 wicket each. For India, Jasprit Bumrah as well as Bhuvneshwar Kumar and Hardik Pandya took 1 wicket each. And that's it from me and my team in this edition of News. Thanks for watching.